Chris Rock is performing a stand-up gig tonight in Boston, X97, his first appearance since the Oscars. If you were Chris, what would be the first joke you, X92D, tell? Assuming you, X92D, want to acknowledge Will Smith, X92's slap. Apparently Will's relationship is open to anything but jokes. Maybe just a list of the comebacks that went through his head, but were withheld at the time? Like my favorite one, Don, T worry, this is the Oscars. You don't, T, have to worry about anyone up on the stage saying your wife's name. He really deserved the award for Best Actor, because after watching the movie Alley, I thought he actually knew how to throw a punch. You know how you can tell that slap wasn't staged? Well, didn't make the studio give Jaden a role. To get started, are there any insecure couples in the front row? Riff off of Pee Wee Herman's opening remarks at MTV Awards after he was arrested for masturbating in public. Seen any good TV lately? I was at the Comedy Cellar, which based on the timing must have been one of the first times Michelle Wolf performed after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. She said something like, "I'm Michelle, and I never thought I'd say this, but you probably know me from Fox News." Someone said he should get a helmet and a neck support. I think this would have been the first part of the joke, and then he should have said, "I brought this because my next joke is about Shaquille O'Neal's wife." Edit. Wow, this blew up. Thank you so much for the awards. So, I fired one of my joke writers Monday. I feel like a joke about Will Smith would just be cheating at this point, but I guess that S never bothered him before. Chris in these comments taking notes. Just look out at the audience, squinting a bit in the lights as you scan the crowd carefully, until the laughter starts, then just start the act without mentioning it at all. But I hope he has bodyguards, as some idiot might try to rush the stage. Now before we start, does anyone here have a wife with a medical condition that I need to be aware of? So, I guess they all heard that G.I. Jane 2 probably isn't happening. Well, after my busy schedule of producing Will's biggest hit in years, I was able to make it here tonight. So how many of you got your tickets in the last 3 days? Entering the stage wearing a neck support. Come out wearing a helmet and with 2 bodyguards by his side. Be like, why? All are never gonna guess what happened to me the other day. Publicly thank Will Smith for all the extra ticket sales. This reminds me of Pee Wee Herman's first show after getting out of jail for allegedly masturbating in a theater. He walked out and shouted, "Heard any good jokes lately?" Chris Rock will either make one joke about it and move on like Pee Wee did, or he could make his entire act nothing but jokes about Will Smith's wife. I think everyone's hoping for the latter. When they asked if I wanted to be an Oscar host, I didn't know they meant De La Hoya. I think you all might be tired of watching my face. It has been slapped all over the news lately. I'm hearing all these great suggestions with CR's voice in my head. It. I would call my whole tour, so Will Smith just slapped me at the Oscars, and travel from city to city with it. I am gonna open with some alopecia jokes, and then 2 huge bodyguards walk out and stand on either side of him. Yeah, know what I heard about Jada Pinkett Smith? Long pause, as he looks nervously around the room. Not a damn thing. I was gonna say something about Will and Jada, but decided to wait until August. If I were him, I would acknowledge Questlove and his documentary's win. I asked all my friends who won the Oscar that Rock was about to hand out before the slap, and no one knew. It's really sad how after all that time and work they put into Summer of Soul and all anyone is talking about is the slap. Hey, everybody. Now, this is a story all about how. If I knew Will was gonna get so mad about my making fun of his wife, I would have asked one of her boyfriends for permission first. He slapped me so hard they thought I slept with his wife. Hey all, I am here from Will Smith's first real hit in years. It would be funny if he flinched when the clapping starts. I thank the Lord for Will Smith. That man made me think twice about my Alec Baldwin jokes. Walk to the edge of the stage and walk alongside it, then say, "Good, no stairs coming up here." They got time to run if one of you decides to get out of your seats. Stroking his cheek, can you see the Fresh Prince? Heard any good jokes lately? Any of you guys think this year's Oscars was slapping? In case you didn't, no, it was all staged. Really, the entire audience were paid actors. I am gonna be direct tonight. No tongue-in-cheek jokes. The cheek's still sore. I don't like the new, darker Fresh Prince. I like that 90s Fresh Prince with the neon, Carlton and Hillary. If Jada can't take a joke about alopecia, then it's hair loss. Just flew in from getting smacked at the Oscars. Boy, are Will Smith's arms tired. If there's one thing I've learned about Chris Rock after all this time, it's that the man does not need any help in writing some damn, funny jokes. Whatever he comes out with, I bet the audience will love it. I want to congratulate Will Smith for defending his wife's honor. She and her boyfriend must be very proud. Will's marriage seems to open to anything but jokes. I'd have my routine be nothing but G.I. Jane 2 jokes. Will's first hit single in 25 years. I would tell a stupid joke and have an actor I pay come up and slap the shit out of me, again. I'd walk on wearing a neck brace. Or maybe wearing a crash helmet, then take it off once I checked the room was clear of Will's. The other night some of you may notice I was in a hairy situation. Some people have a hair trigger attitude. I know everyone is expecting me to make a joke about Will Smith and the slap. Sorry to disappoint, Gemini Man and Wild Wild West were bigger hits. Before we go any further, anyone in here armed? Update. He came out to standing ovations and after they quieted down he said, "So how was your weekend?" And the place erupted with laughter. It was great. The theater has asked me to make the following announcement about tonight's performance. In the case of a fire and the exits are here, and in a case of your finding one of my jokes offensive, the line for slapping me in the face will start over here. I want to address the elephant in the room. Will and I did end up talking after the Oscars. We agreed it would benefit our relationship if we keep an honest, open-handed relationship, and I can joke about his wife anytime I want to. Before I begin, and this is important, does anybody's wife here have alopecia? Come with a handprint on his cheek. Now the media is saying this whole ordeal is rooted in racism, while I know one thing that isn't rooted, Jada's hair. That slap was so vicious, I'm going to have to move in with my aunt and uncle in Bel Air. Come out in a bulletproof vest and a helmet and then say, please disclose any medical issues you may have before I begin. Come out to music fades out, man, this song slaps. Am I right? I can't believe he played Allie. Are there any bald couples in the house? Thanks for Will for shining a light on alopecia. Thanks for Jada's head for shining a light on everything else. Well, I bet now he's got to move to his auntie in Bel Air. Will Smith gave me some fresh prints the other night. If that didn't get him laid that night, nothing will. So I have been in talks to join G.I. Jane too. Okay, before we start, yo, will you in the house? Address the first 3 rows and just say, could I just check your wives' names? I don't want them up in my flocking mouth. I tried that at a little gig I had and things went a little sour. I would walk out on stage wearing a neck brace. Last time I told a joke, the Fresh Prince got a standing ovation for slapping me. Nice try, Chris. Write your own jokes. The same G.I. Jane joke. All Will Smith accomplished was taking offense to a joke a few people heard and turn it into a joke that the whole world heard. On top of that, lost a shit ton of fans. So I've obviously changed my career to slapstick. It was weird that Will Smith was promoting his 2001 movie, Allie. Didn't he know it wasn't up for any awards this year? Ain't nobody above an ass whoopin'.